This doesn't get any easier. Oh, wow. I don't know how I survived this one. Ooh. Ooh. All right, just got back. That was a hard run. That was a very hard run. I feel like I was kind of falling apart towards the back end of this run. I still kept the pace towards on the last mile, at least I tried to. But yeah. All right, so I just got showered up, and I'm actually drinking a protein shake now to get some protein in post long run. Also, dive into the workout a little bit more since I feel like this is a perfect time to look at Strava. So my legs are definitely feeling very sore right now. So I mean, it's in a good way sore. But yeah, so the workout definitely was tough. It was probably one of the toughest workouts I've actually run in quite some time. I've done this workout beforehand, and the last time I did, I think it was in September I did this workout before, and my average pace for marathon portion of it was 6:23. Pretty sure that was in September. It was a little bit warmer out, but it was humid. I'm not quite sure exactly how many miles I had on my legs at the time period, and this time period, I got it in 6:30. Now, I'm not saying that this was a bad run overall. It definitely was a good run. I just think it was one of those ones where it wasn't necessarily the best one for me. When we have those kinds of runs, that's what happens during marathon training. So I'm not really necessarily mad at that at all. First couple of miles weren't that bad. I mean, I was hitting like the low 8s for my easy pace or easy effort, and I felt pretty good for the most part. My heart rate was kind of like all over the place. It was in the 140, which is fine. And I made a pit stop back at my house around mile 11 or so, because I thought it was a good idea to swap out my handheld water bottle. I wanted to make sure I had a constant flow of fluids like electrolytes and liquid carbs, and I also had my gels at the same time period. So I want to make sure I had like a little bit of a balance of both in case I didn't necessarily have enough carbs on me. At least I still had something with me. So by mile 13 or so, I was still feeling pretty good. I was making sure I was actually getting very close to that 13 mile mark. I usually press the lap press button on my watch because I feel like it's a little bit better to kind of like start my workout when I want to start my workout, not necessarily when it actually just becomes 13 miles and I'm like going. So hit it a little bit after the 13 mile mark, which I think was only like a 1/10 of a mile afterwards, which isn't like terrible. But I felt really good the first couple of miles. I mean, I was hitting 6:35, 6:20, 6:23. Like I was actually right where I needed to be. The first mile was going slight uphill, and there was a headwind going up there. I'm like, of course, there's another headwind. But yeah, so I wanted to make sure I kind of like held it back a little bit, just in case the later miles I wasn't actually like feeling it, and I was actually able to have some left in the tank. So I can keep going. 6:35, 6:20, 6:23 the first couple of miles, then 6:29 the next mile after that. There's a couple of like rolling hills here every once in a while. Mile 18, 19, that's when the hills really started to kind of show up, because the route that I was taking in order to get back to closer to my house, because I actually planned it out properly as opposed to the last couple of times I've done these runs, I actually made sure that I finished my run closer to the house. I wasn't running but so much further afterwards. So with me actually doing these specific runs and finishing where I wanted to finish, I had to go up a certain hill in order to get back. So at mile 19, that's when I went up one of those massive hills in order to get back to a good spot. But the good thing is that I had that one hill I had to go up, and it was only maybe a matter of like, it was like less than a 1/4 of a mile hill, but it was like steep. So I had to go up that incline a little bit, But as soon as I got past that, I was able to turn a corner and I would hit a somewhat of a downhill, but it still kind of definitely took me out. My heart rate was definitely a little bit higher during that specific time period because going uphill. So my pace definitely dropped during that time period. Mile 19, it was 6:52. But then I tried to bring it back down as much as I could because I had a slight downhill right after that. Mile 20, it was a -9 elevation loss. So I ended up bringing it back down to 6:34. But also during that same time period, after a little while, I had to get to another hill that was like the last quarter mile of this last mile that I was working on. So I had to go up another hill. But I feel like it was actually a pretty good run. I mean, I feel like there was nothing really that stood out as being terrible. My shin wasn't really bothering me at all. My calf wasn't bothering me. My IT band, nothing really was bothering me to a certain extent where I had to either slow down, I had to stop, anything like that, which is a good sign. So I consider this one a win. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a solid run. The weather was great. I think it started getting a little warmer out towards the back end. It was in the 40s by the time I was ready to finish. I feel like I had too many layers on. This is probably one of the hardest workouts I've done in a while, and it wasn't really that much to it. It was just two different paces I was supposed to be aiming towards, an easy effort pace and my marathon pace. It wasn't anything crazy. I wasn't changing paces when it comes to threshold and marathon pace and 5K pace. It was all just two different pace times. So I feel like these workouts, they definitely kind of humble you a little bit, but again, they also teach you a lot about what kind of paces you can hold when you're actually running on fatigued legs. And I feel like it was a good thing. I mean, I feel like there was nothing really shocking about this workout other than the fact that I was definitely feeling fatigued by the time I'm hit mile 17 or 18 or so, because again, the rollers that I had in there, they were definitely tough. But also at the same time period, you don't know what to expect on race day. And I'm still kind of coming off of someone being injured, so I don't really want to necessarily be too upset about not hitting certain times or goals or whatever it may be. So things happen for a reason, and I feel like the injury that I had, it was a turning point. But honestly, coming back from that and able to hit the paces that I've been hitting recently, I feel like that's amazing. So I'm gonna keep moving forward and see what happens. I got another big week coming up next week. I need an even longer run for next Saturday. So, yeah, till then, I'll see you in the next episode. All that I can do